Rockstar gang, what up? What up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Welcome. I can't believe that we won a game. We won a game. We won our second game of the year, tying what we had win wise last year. Listen, today's show really is going to be, we're going to break down the game. All right. So we're going to break down the game. I'm going to give you my thoughts, recap, whatever. Okay. But I'm also going to be very, very honest with you guys today. Like which I don't know when I'm not, but we're really going to dive into the whole Bryce Young situation because it's kind of getting very tricky up to this point now with the Bryce Young situation. It really is. Because you know, Dave Canales didn't come out and say, they didn't come out and say that they were, going to trade him. Now, there's obviously rumors out there. Diane Rossini came out on Twitter. If y'all didn't see that, sounds like they're still looking to trade Bryce Young, but it's not going to be until after the season, which makes no sense to me because you have him coming off his best two performances of the year where his value is at his highest. If you're going to trade this guy, you need to go ahead and do it. Well, let's not kid ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. We won that game by the skin of our teeth yesterday. All right? We won that game by the skin of our teeth yesterday. We did. We didn't win that game. We didn't win that game outright. It wasn't like we just went out there and just absolutely obliterated them. No. We went out there and played competitive football, which is really all we've wanted to see. Right? We've only ever wanted to see them play competitive. Shout out to Roundtable Sports for making this. Why can't I see myself? What is going on? It's all good. I can't see something here. Why is this? Huh. Interesting. But that's okay. Whatever. Like this was a game yesterday. Here's the thing. We barely squeezed by in this win. Chuba Hubbard's value is high right now. But let's not get too crazy with this celebration. Like there's flashes of hope, especially from some of our young guns on this team. All right. But this win, ladies and gentlemen, it came with plenty of head scratching moments and a handful of near disaster. So we need to buckle up because we're about to dive into the good, the bad, the downright frustrating from this game. Final score 23-22. First takeaway I took from this game was our rookies in this game brought the heat. Finally, it was about time that our rookies showed up, and damn did they. They can't come into play this week for a team now sitting at 2-7. Obviously, we know a shot at the playoff berth. Best thing Panthers fans can hope for is the glimpses of the brighter future. And these rookies might just be. And who these rookies might just be. Okay? That's what we get to look at now. But that's what we get to look at now. Like, Jadavion Sanders yesterday lit it up for 4 catches, 87 yards. He wasn't just padding stats. He had that 46-yard catch and run in the second half. Was the longest play of the season for the Panthers. It came with a slick hurdle and a burst up the sideline. This wasn't some fluke. Sanders has the real receiving skills that can add depth to the Panthers offense. And I think Jadavion Sanders, ladies and gentlemen, might be one of the steals in the draft besides Jalen Coker. Jalen Coker still to me is going to be a steal of the draft. I love Xavier Legette. I need to see more out of him, but I do believe in Legette sooner or later is still going to continue to be a problem. I think he's going to end up being and that's our future with these receiving core is Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, and Jadavion Sanders. And I see it that way. Jadavion Sanders, when he was coming out and I broke down his film last year, he had a lot of issues with up the seam blocking, but he's gotten a lot better. He's gotten a lot better in the blocking scheme. So that's a good sign. But now he's becoming more of a vertical threat, and he's starting to really come into his own, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing for Jadavion Sanders. Xavier Legette, a guy who continues to find the end zone, man. Made a clutch 26-yard grab that jumpstart that game-winning drive. The problem with Legette is, though, that interception, he has to be more physical on that play. Plain and simple. That interception that's on Bryce's stats, that's not really Bryce's fault. That's Xavier Legette's fault for not getting physical, holding on to the ball. That's on him, right? He was responsible for that lone turnover of the day when that ball got ripped out of his hands. All right. But he still looks like a legit playmaker, and I think he will be. Jalen Coker. Again, the guy, we struck gold with this kid. All right. And Damani Richardson. I think we might have struck gold with Damani Richardson, too. I think these guys are both underrated talents. Coker was an underrated talent out of Holy Cross, and he's been impressive. He seems to know how to get open. And I think obviously he's a fan favorite. Richardson, meanwhile, he's stepping up in the safety, making open field tackles, serviceable in coverage. It's a rough season, but these guys are proof that some of these moves might pay off down the line. Now, and let's be real, 2024 is now about scouting the keepers, and Carolina might have just found a few in these rookies, right? I think they might have found a few in these rookies. I love seeing the young players. Let's get to the comments real quick. I love seeing the young players show sparks and finally saw the game ice being waiting for with. Yep. I've been waiting for our rookie tight end. Yes. Zup. Play calling is doo-doo. Yeah, we're going to talk about that play calling, man. We're going to talk about that play calling. Dan has definitely cooked with this draft class. Excited to see what's next. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, man. This 2025 draft is going to be very, very interesting for the Carolina Panthers going into it next year. So I'm definitely interested. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to be clear about something when we talk about Bryce Young, which we're going to get into next. I want to be very, very clear about the Bryce Young situation today. And I wanted to make it clear to you guys because I want y'all to understand one thing. It would be beneficial, okay? It would be beneficial if Bryce Young panned out. Okay, it would be beneficial. I want to make that clear. It would be from a long-term standpoint, from a financial standpoint, but to me, I just don't see it. I still don't see it with this kid. I just don't. And it is what it is. Like, I just don't see Bryce panning out. As much as I would love him to, I just don't see it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see the arm talent. I don't see the red zone. He's not very good in the red zone. He struggled at that at Alabama. If you go watch him at Alabama, he struggled. You go watch his game film in Alabama, he struggles in the red zone. but kudos to him managing the games as of lately. I mean, that's what he's done. He's just been a game manager. But I'll say this yesterday. Bryce Young, footwork yesterday, to me, when I watch it, it wasn't a complete mess. Because that was one of the issues with Bryce Young was his footwork, right? And particularly, it was just downright sloppy footwork last year. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket. He rarely set his feet, rushed his throws. Again, offensive line issues, wide receivers not getting open. I know that's going to be the excuses. All right. And we know that's the excuses. And we got to stop giving excuses, though. We got to start holding these guys accountable. This fan base, I know right now, has got to be going from one side to the other. Like, people are still not on the Bryce train, but there's that fan base that thinks that this kid is as good as everybody thinks he's going to be, but he's not. Yes, yesterday his footwork looked great, but is his footwork going to look great in Munich if they continue to play him? Is his footwork going to look good after the bye week when we go up against Kansas City? Is this kid, after the observations I saw yesterday, is he going to continue to be consistent? But with the performances like this, a QBR rating of a 47.4, a completion rating for a 61.5, 171 yards and a touchdown. Now, he probably would have had a 200-yard game if Xavier Legette didn't, allow that interception to happen. But, I mean, again, I can't sit here and believe that this kid is just going to turn it around. Yes, he had a solid performance. I saw some progress yesterday. But it was against a Saints team, nonetheless, that is busted up. And they just fired their head coach today, which I'm not surprised. Dennis Allen, I've always said it. I've never thought that the Saints, I don't think anybody at the Saints thought that Dennis Allen was very good as a head coach. Great defensive coordinator, great defensive-minded guy, but he's not a head coach material. He's just not. And you can tell that he lost that locker room. And even TJ said it on the NFC South Roundtable. Yeah, Miss Rand, he did drop a couple. David Moore did drop a couple. But still, we'll get into Dave Canales' play calling. But against the Saints, I'm going to give Bryce Young his flowers right now. His pocket movement looked better. He was calm under pressure when I saw yesterday. He's playing his feet, threw with confidence. And this might sound basic to you guys, I know. But it's actually huge for Bryce Young. His footwork, because it was erratic last year. And right now, in these past two games, he seems more in sync with his upper body, and he's finally navigating the pocket without really panicking. But he also has an offensive line that's holding it up. The fact that he can find stability back there, that is a monumental shift from his jittery start. Again, I hope this sticks, but otherwise, I just think it's not. I kind of feel like we're also, this is the reason why I don't agree with not trading this guy at the deadline, because his value is high right now, and you're probably going to get the best out of him now, at least value-wise for a trade. And we're going to talk about the trade deadline. We're going to talk about the cap space today. I got a good show for you. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. We've got over 30 people watching right now total. So feel free to share the live. Make sure you like and subscribe over here on the YouTube channel. That's the best way you can show your support. I appreciate everyone joining. See everyone in the comment section. I promise I will get to y'all's comments. But let's get back to it, man. Another thing I saw with Bryce Young was he started building connections again. He started building connections even without Deontay Johnson and without Adam Thielen. Now, I know Deontay Johnson was traded. We all know that. But Young was working with what you could call unproven talent. No? Yet, he made it work. I'm giving him his flowers for this game. But I'm not going to give it, again, guys, I want to be clear. These are just observations I saw yesterday, but I'm not making it, I'm not making this like it's a celebration. I'm just being truthfully honest with you. Jalen Coker made some solid catches, man. I already gave them boys their flowers. First rounder, Xavier Legette hauled in that touchdown. You know, Jadavion Sanders coming into his own, right? Obviously, Bryce Young trusts these guys. He went to them when it mattered. He didn't hesitate to let him make plays. That can mean good things down the line for this kid. Now, if Young keeps getting these rookies involved, he might be onto something, even if the Panthers aren't exactly playoff bound. And here's another thing. I guarantee you Canales would be wise to keep these guys in rotation and let them build something together, if nothing else. It's a foundation. No? I think it's a foundation. Stacy ain't lying. I would too. Supernova. I think that's probably what they're going to do at this point, Domo. And I was alluding to that later. And I'll allude to this comment later. Because I think that the reason why they haven't traded, they're not going to trade him at the deadline based off the rumors, is because they want to. They're going back and forth right now. They don't know from what's right from wrong in this situation. And Dave Canales is in a rock and a hard place, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Canales is in a rock and a hard place because whether you want to believe it or not, Dave Canales doesn't want this kid. He does not see a future with this kid. But if it starting him saves his job from Tepper getting pissed off, he can bide his time. He can go in there and be like, yeah, we're going to start him. Yeah, I like this kid. He can be as positive as he wants, but in his mind, you know, he's like, I'm just doing this. So then when we go get the number 1 pick in the draft, I'm going to go get my guy because I can't work with this kid. Dave Canales is a great salesman. He's a great bullshitter, but I see through the bullshittery. I see through the bullshittery. I think Dave Canales is biding his time, playing face, and I think that he is literally just waiting so he can be like, all right, I can move on from this kid. I'm going to go get my guy. Because I can guarantee you he doesn't see it here with this kid. And you can tell in his press conferences and why he continues to say, well, we're not starting Bryce Young. We don't know yet. Dalton gives us the best chance to win. Whether y'all believe that or not, I see through the bullshittery, though. I think that, again, I'm going to tell y'all this once. I'm going to tell you it twice. I think Dave Canales is just biding his time with Bryce Young. He's playing it safe so that he can save his job, so that he can just get through the rest of this season. And I think he goes and get it. I actually have a feeling now that he goes and get his guy in this draft. He doesn't believe in Bryce Young. Again, the schedule is what it is. You know? But we'll talk more about the Bryce Young trade and stuff like that. That's just a little sneak peek of what I got to say. that's just a little sneak peek of what I got to say. But let's get back to this kid's performance. The thing that I thought was the biggest performance from this game out of him was that statement drive. I'll be honest. The statement drives have been few and far between with Bryce Young this season. But against the Saints, he actually pieced one together, a really nice one. You come out of halftime. We were in. The Panthers were in it. They needed Young to come out firing, and he actually delivered. For a moment, he looked like Alabama star we all heard about and all wanted to see. And he led the team down the field, nice and poised, made smart decisions, capped it off by setting up Chuba Hubbard for a nice touchdown run. It was the type of drive should be leading. It's a type of drive that Young should be leading every week. Not throwing in the towel after a missed throw, not sulking, just pure determined football. The way I watched him do that, like literally string together that drive, was like it was like watching a different player. But again, I need to see him pull off more drives, and I hope he does. I want to see. As much as I don't believe in this kid, I still want to hope that this kid can pan out. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Yeah, QP88, I think you're on the same page with a lot of people, man. I think a lot of people are on the same page as you, brother. I'm just not. I'm not on the same page. That would be a popular opinion with a lot of people on Twitter, but then it would also get you probably your head ripped off by some others. I'm not going to rip your head off. I'm not going to rip your head off. But someone would call you delusional. Someone would call you a fucking idiot. That's how Twitter is, but it is what it is. I get it called every day when I post, so it's all good. It's all good. Oh, man. Some other things I saw from Bryce yesterday was like it felt like he just went out there and played freely for the most part. Obviously the play calling, which we're going to talk about, but let's not sugarcoat it. Like the Saints secondary was decimated, though, ladies and gentlemen. Like no big name corners. Marshawn Lattimore wasn't out there. Paulson Adebo's out for the year. These guys are signing, and the Saints are signing guys off the couches, man, to get some talent in there. But Young's confidence was unmistakable. He actually looked like he wanted to be out there. It felt like he was free of hesitation. He was letting the ball fly, trusting his instincts, but for once, it was clear he was leaning on his skill set that made him a top pick in the first place. That's the kind of confidence we've been wanting to see. And sure, the Saints were working with a depleted defense, but for Young, it's all about building momentum. And let's not pretend he hasn't needed it. After weeks of mistakes, second guessing himself, this was a chance to play with swagger he had at Alabama. Now, if he can keep the attitude going, again, this is some of the stuff I'm mentioning right now. That's where I need to see the consistency lie. And last but not least, I think a lot of people are probably going to be like, well, Clay, do you think that he should start the rest of the season? Do you think he should start the rest of the season? My question is, guys, do you want to win? Or do you, my question to you, though, and the chat, and I would love to hear y'all's answers, and I'm looking at the chat right now. Do y'all guys want Bryce Young to start the rest of the season? Do you and another thing is, do you think Bryce Young gives us the better chance to win? Or do you believe Dalton gives us the better chance to win? Because you've got to think about it this way. You want the if it's me, right? In my opinion, I want the guy the bet that's going to make us lose. Not necessarily lose. Okay, that's not the right word to say it. I want to win football games. Like, I'm tired of losing. Like, because when we do win, it feels like we've won the Super Bowl because we've lost so much. But part of me is torn because part of me is like, I want to see Bryce Young start the rest of the season. Like, because I'm also kind of tired of this like quarterback roulette that's going on. But part of me also wants to see Andy Dalton instead of Bryce Young. Because I honestly don't know who gives us a better chance to win, because Dalton was going on a downward spiral there for a hot minute. And then Bryce comes in, looks more competent, and he comes back and, he wins this game. But also part of me is like, we're not exactly chasing the playoff spot here. Right? So part of me is like, well, why not commit to this kid as our starter for the rest of the season? Because there's really no excuse to not let him get every rep he can. But it's so hard because we're such a mess of an organization and everybody knows it. But if Young has any hope of turning his career around, whether it's here or if he gets traded to go somewhere else, I do think he needs time in the pocket. Because the team's not winning much with him or without him. But at least he's learning out there. And Canales, I think he has to ditch some kind of those fantasies of putting Andy Dalton back in. I think if he's smart, he sticks with the guy they drafted first overall, even though you don't want him, and see if he can grow in the role. I just don't think this kid's going to. But I think that it's like, might as well just continue with it. You benched him for what, 6 weeks, whatever it was. 4 weeks. So is it 6, 7? So wait, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6 weeks. Okay. But I think the Panthers actually held up pretty well against the Saints defense. But again, it's a depleted defense. And you have some scrappy young group of receivers, tight ends. Your running backs are coming through. You got Adam Thielen coming back next week. Apparently, we got we got Adam Thielen coming back this week. We got DJ Wanum coming back this week. We've got Jonathan Brooks might be making his debut in Munich, Germany. I mean, Bryce Young could surprise yet again. I don't know. I mean, we got one over a depleted Saints team and a Saints team that wasn't really playing for their head coach because Dennis Allen lost that locker room how long ago? And that doesn't change much in the standings. But it's a spark that we've been dying for. I just say at this point, you might as well just let the kid play. Let him play. Let him make mistakes. Maybe he learned something from along the way. I don't know. We've got nothing to lose at this point, but more games, and at this point, that might be a good thing. That might be a good thing. Top Table Laboratories, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, Joshua, I saw that. Draft Travis Hunter. I'm not too sure about that yet. I like him. I like him as a corner, but I don't know if I like him as much as a receiver. I think Travis Hunter is going to have a Jesus meeting with himself and figure out which position. I just don't see how he can play both. But more power to him. Never say never. Oh, man. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, I was just getting I'm just giving Bryce his flowers. But let's talk about Dave Canales' play calling, man. Let's talk about Dave Canales' play calling. Because that's where I really want to talk about. Dave Canales' play calling is predictable and it's painful. And that's why the poll chat's up there. I'm not going to harp on this too much. All right. I'm not going to harp on this too much. All right. Here's the thing. We won despite Dave Canales' play calling. Not because of it. Carolina's offensive strategy has been questionable all season, but Sunday felt like the last straw. Like he's starting to look like he's trying to outsmart himself, and it's not working. Like Canales' calls were often ill-timed, painfully predictable, and sometimes just downright bizarre from what I was seeing. Like, let's talk about these ridiculous screen passes that just keep going nowhere. Or how about Miles Sanders' swing passes that lost a total of 5 yards? Like, Canales doesn't seem to grasp the flow of the game, and his attempt at creative come off as cringeworthy to me. His play calling is cringeworthy at the moment. It might be time to seriously consider giving your offensive coordinator, Brad Ezick, a shot at the wheel, my guy. Because at the very least, a new set of eyes on play calling could help avoid those brutal offensive breakdowns. And also, yesterday, the Saints were their own worst enemy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest. Let's not kid ourselves here. This win was at least half luck for us. Like, I still believe that. Like, the Saints practically gave Carolina every opportunity to take this game. They committed over 10 penalties that set them back over 109 yards. And each time New Orleans started to gain momentum, they imploded with a holding call, pass interference, or some boneheaded mistake. I think we got a gift in this game here. No doubt about it. It was gifted. We capitalized on some of their mistakes, but if they're hoping to make these 1-point wins a trend, again, we need to take a they need to look a lot sharper than they did against the Saints. All right? They need to look a lot sharper against the Saints. Oh, they definitely gave us the game. QP88, he played last year and now he's starting to play again this year. He played 4 games so far this year. If they stick with him and he goes out there and still is only putting up 171, 180 yards a game, I've seen enough out of Bryce QP that I already know that this guy ain't it. I don't understand why we want to sit here and continue to because I want people to explain to me in the chat how you believe that this kid still has a chance, that he is NFL talent worthy. I don't see it. There's too many inconsistencies. The confidence issue comes and goes. He's got a noodle of an arm. The deep ball accuracy is still an issue. Seeing over the offensive line is still an issue. I don't understand what more evaluation we need. Bryce Young ain't it. I just don't see it. Joshua Lilly. Have you watched these games? How are you going to sit here and say he needs an offensive line? The offensive line is top 5 every fucking week this year. Can y'all get that through your fucking heads? Stop blaming the offensive line and start holding this kid accountable for once in y'all's lives. This is so frustrating, man. I don't get it. Each and every week, our offensive line is top 5. Even with the injuries, we still finish top 10 in the NFL. Till y'all get it through your thick heads and y'all want to continue to be mediocre. I don't understand it. Our offensive line is fine. Our wide receivers are getting open. Jalen Coker is getting open. Jadavion Sanders is getting open. Xavier Legette is getting open. But also, you have to also blame some of the play calling. Again, this is just one game, man. I was shocked. I was shocked too, Marcos, with that statement right there. I was shocked yesterday. Cade Mays actually played well under center. Don't hurt him, Hammer. You gotta draft another quarterback. Bryce Young ain't it, ladies and gentlemen. It's just plain and simple. He ain't it. I can break it down for you if you want. I can break it down for you as to why Bryce Young ain't it. Can we kick Sanders off? We're going to talk about Sanders. We're going to talk about the trade deadline. We're going to talk about guys who are going to get off this team, and he's part of it. He's part of it. But my recap from this game, man, like I said, they had their chance to pull it off. The Saints did. We just had some luck, in my opinion. I think we just had some luck. I do. But it was good. Again, great win. We needed another win. It feels good to win. Don't get me wrong. It feels good to win. I'm not a guy that wants to tank, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a big believer in tanking. Here's the issue, though. This organization has us as fans going from one side of the world to the other. And we don't have a happy medium because we're such a mess. Because we have so many holes on this team. But we also have a quarterback issue. We also have an owner issue. And we also got a cap room issue. We've also had this scout room issue. We've had a lot of issues. And we're just so torn in between at this point over some quarterback that has, I think, maybe thrown two 200 yards games. And people want to still believe that this kid is it. I just don't understand. I don't understand how people can believe that Bryce Young is still has that. Is still this guy that you want to so-calledly believe in. Randall, at this point, it's looking at like it, man. It's looking like it. I mean, it's seriously looking like it. Because again, I said this earlier, Randall. I don't know how long ago you just joined in, but Randall, we haven't had a guy. I said this earlier. Dave Canales does not believe in this kid. That's why when after the game did he say, "Will Bryce Young start again?" They asked the question, "Will Bryce Young be the starter for the game in Germany?" Dave Canales said, he said he hasn't made a decision on that yet. Right? He hasn't made the decision on that yet. Okay. So if he hasn't made a decision on that yet, that means that that tells me everything I need to know about him, that he doesn't believe in Bryce Young. Okay. And, oh, cool. All right, cool. But I just don't, again, sorry, Randall. I got caught up. But no, to you guys, and I was answering Randall's question. So do you think we're going for a first overall pick for a quarterback? And Dave Canales, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, he is just saving face. He's going to probably start Bryce Young for the rest of the season. Okay. He's probably going to start Bryce Young the rest of the season. And then based off of what Diane Rossini, part of I think she's the NFL Network. I think I know she's part of one of the big sports networks. I'm not sure, or is it maybe ESPN? Or maybe it's Fox. I'm not sure, but she came out and said that there's a rumor that Carolina is not going to be looking to trade Bryce Young at the deadline. They're looking to trade Bryce Young at the end of the season, possibility. So to me, that tells me that they're going to play this kid the rest of the season to see if they can get some more value out of him by the end of the year. Or somehow he just miraculously turns his whole career around and maybe he becomes the guy. Highly doubtful. But again, I think Dave Canales is just saving face. He's trying to bullshit his way to get that quarterback that he wants in the next draft. No, Josh, he won't fail. I think that we have the future here. I think you have the future in your offense. Your offensive line is basically solidified. I think now that with Austin Corbett going down at the center position, you still need to look at a center in this draft, ladies and gentlemen. I still think we need to look at a center in this draft. Cade Mays looked good. But Ike Ekwonu gotten better, but I think we need to look at a center in this draft. And yet, and you can get a center probably if you want to get a good center, you don't have to get them in the first. You don't have to get them in the second. It looks like the centers are going around maybe the third round at best. I think it's Jonah Monaheim out of USC seems to be the best guy. So, again, we got to look at a center in this draft for sure. All right, we have to look at a center in this draft. Guys, if you're just joining in, I already gave you my takeaways recap of the game. We're going to get into some more stuff, talk about some drafts, probably talk about some cap space. But yeah, the play calling though has got to get better though, ladies and gentlemen. The play calling has to get better. Again, it's here's the brutal truth. Dave Canales is killing this offense with overthinking. That's what he's doing. So to the poll question of the day, which is the poll question up there, which has how many votes? We got 43 votes. How many likes we got? Man, we got 18 likes, but I got 43 votes on this poll question. Make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen, to me. Make it make sense. I got a lot of content I'm going to bring y'all today. I got lots of comment. I got lots of content coming today, but y'all better make sure you pound that like button. We got 43 votes on the totem poll, on the poll question of the day. All right, make sure you pound that like button. All right, we got 44 votes, but only 18 likes. Let's go. Pound that like button. All right. So with 44 votes, we should have 44 likes. All right. Guys, it takes less than a second than a vote. Look at that. Keep Powder says, did my part. Give this man some likes. Miss Rand comes in and says, guys, takes less than a second to vote. That's for sure. It does. Always do the thumbs up button. See? Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Yeah, we're gonna get into some cap space stuff today. I forgot about that too. We're gonna have to use some over the cap today. We're gonna get into some cap space. Let's get into some studs and some let's get some players of the game real quick. I want to bring up a few guys that I want to give a quick shout out for the players of the game. I already talked about Bryce. Bryce is actually one of my players of the game, but we already broke him down, so we'll skip him. But I want to go to Chuba Hubbard real quick. Where's Chuba at? Come here, Chuba. Chuba Hubbard. All right, I gotta give Chuba Hubbard where credit is due. Right there, man. Again, this guy proves one of my players of the game, Chuba Hubbard, proved once again that he's the real deal. Even with 15 carries, racked up 72 yards, punched in 2 touchdowns. The guy's running with confidence, man. He's got a burst out of that backfield. He's very decisive. He waits for his runs. He waits for those lanes to open up. He's patient. That's what you want to see. And that's what that wide zone scheme's about. The wide zone scheme, ladies and gentlemen, that Dave Canales runs for running backs, there's 3 things that they have to do. Oh my God, I got to look it up again. Y'all going to love this. I'm on fire today. I'm on fire. So wide zone scheme. So the big things for running backs' responsibilities in this scheme is there's 3 things: read, react, run. So that's why Chuba's doing so good. He starts by aiming for the outside shoulder most of the time in this game. In these schemes, if you go watch, he's looking for the outside shoulder of that offensive tackle. And what he's doing is his eyes are on the blocks that are developing in front of them. So in front of him. So that's why you see Chuba Hubbard doing so well. The way he reacts, that's the next thing. It really depends on how the blocks develop and how that defense kind of reacts. But he's choosing one of the 3 options, right? When he's back there, he either is going to bounce outside, or he's going to cut up front, upfield, or through a gap, or cut up against the grain, which you saw yesterday, that last touchdown. All right. But the run, the way he runs, that's where he makes his decisions. And he has to commit with speed and decisiveness, and that's what he's doing. They can't contain him. He's been one of the few bright spots in this offense, man. He's giving us exactly the kind of energy and spark we need. But I just feel like Canales forgets about him too many times. But Hubbard showed every time he touched the ball, and he's hoping Carolina gets him. I hope he gets more involved. And it sucks because he's making Miles Sanders look like an expensive afterthought, because that's what he is at this point. That's what he is. Again, that's what it doesn't make sense to me, Miss Rand. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. I really don't have an answer to it. Again, I just feel like Canales might have. It's so frustrating. I just feel like the guy forgets about him. I feel like he forgets about him. And sometimes it's too many times. So I feel you. The 3 R's, that's exactly what it is. Read, react, run. There's only 2 quarterbacks this year. If Manning stays in school another 2 years, 26 quarterback class is even worse. It's gonna be a tough ride. Sometimes, Josh, you might find a diamond in the rough, and that's what we're gonna have to hope for. Maybe, Josh, again, I think this draft class for 2025 is probably gonna be better than the 2026 at this rate. But you never know. We've got some time for that 2026 class to develop itself, and we'll see what happens. I do like Nico out of Tennessee. There are some suspects things out of him. I think Arch obviously depends, like you were saying. But again, you might find a diamond in the rough. Seattle isn't letting Sam Howell leave, in my opinion. No, they're not. They're going to let him soak it all in, get his confidence back, because his confidence got fucking absolutely obliterated in Washington when he was the most sacked quarterback last year. So they're going to let him develop back in there. So I don't know. All right, another one. I got to give you another stud of mine. I got to give you another player of the game for me. Jadavion Sanders, man. Where do I start? Oop. Where's he at? Jadavion Sanders right down here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me back out of this real quick. Can y'all see that? All right, yeah, let's do this instead for the stats. Jadavion Sanders, they might have found a hidden gem in this guy. Like I said, you might have got a steal with a tight end in the 4th round for this kid. He gives us fans a glimpse of what the future could look like with him. But his athleticism, his sure hands are on full display. He's catching 4 balls, 87 yards. As you can see, including a massive 46-yard catch and run. That's one of the longest plays, right? One of the longest plays. He's one of my performers of the game, for sure. The guy's getting better at blocking. He's just doing it. He's coming to his own. He's doing all the right things. Now, let's talk about some guys that, well, one of my not so players of the game was Dave Canales and his play calling. Let's talk about another guy who's just an absolute waste of space on this team. I'm sorry. This guy is a waste of space on this team, and I hope we trade your bum ass for a 6th round pick, because that's probably what at best we're going to probably get for your bum ass. This guy just continues to have a game after game after game that you just want to forget, and yet again, he just does it again. It's so hard to say how much of a disaster this guy has become. And I'm a Penn State fan. I know I'm a Gamecock fan, but my dad went to Penn State. I cheer for Penn State too. But I'm a bigger Gamecock fan probably than I am Penn State. That's neither here nor there. Probably should have been a bigger Penn State fan but Gamecocks pulled it out on Saturday, so can't be too mad about that. But how much was Canales play calling Miles Sanders' fault? Not much, right? I blame the play calling on that. But it's hard to say how much of this disaster is Sanders' fault in some ways. But either way, the numbers speak for himself, man. This guy ends up combining 10 yards on 2 carries, 2 catches, making him practically useless when the Panthers need a spark. I'm so looking forward to Jonathan Brooks coming back and hopefully making his debut. I hope he's 100%. If this kid's not 100%, I don't want him on the field. All right. Sanders' days in Carolina are numbered, in my opinion. And let's be real, he's not doing himself any favors on the trade market either. So, again, the Panthers, we paid him top dollar. But at this rate, it's hard to see why they keep investing in him at all when Hubbard's just out here actually making things happen. All right. And then last but not least, I want to talk about this run defense or the lack thereof. The lack of this run defense is unfreaking believable, man. Like, there's no way to put it. This Panthers run defense is an absolute dumpster fire, and there's only one person to blame on that. And that's probably, I would probably say that is Dan Morgan part of that, not bringing in the right talent. But it's also Giro Evero getting his guys in here that he wanted, that we were able to get. Like, our run defense is absolutely trash. You want to know how bad our run defense is? Because you've got Alvin Kamara averaging, he got 29 carries for 155 yards and 5.3 average. They ran all over us. They racked up a total 197 yards on 41 carries. And Alvin Kamara broke 1,000 yards on the season against us in this game, just so you know. And this is the thing that really pisses me off, is that New Orleans wasn't really doing anything fancy here. Just basic ground and pound football. And we had no answer. We left giant gaps open. They let the Saints dictate the game on the ground. Again, we have to tighten up this run defense. This season's, I get it. It's over. We're not a playoff contender. I get all that. But their inability to stop the run was almost the reason why we lost this game. It's something that we can't keep ignoring if they want to build any momentum. Like, the Panthers want, like, y'all can celebrate this one if you want. I was happy a little bit yesterday. You know, we won a game. But again, let's not kill ourselves, everyone. Let's come back down to earth a little bit. This win exposed as many problems as it did improvements. Bryce Young's progress, that's a relief. A few guys showed some real promise. But Canal's poor decision-making and a hopeless run defense basically almost let this Saints steal it. Now, the victory is a step forward for sure, but there's a long way to go for this team. So, it's tough, man. It's hard, even in the wins, it's hard for me to even be positive with you guys. Like, I'll give some flowers, I'll give some player of the games, but there's just an overall picture and an overall mess here that's so hard for me to be so positive with you guys. Clay, we will be back to the 4-3 after this season with new DC. I hope so. I hope so. Here's the thing. I can tell you my suggestion. The problem, if we keep it at Giro Evero, we have to get guys that fit this 3-4 scheme. We don't have guys that fit this 3-4 scheme. Okay? We don't. We don't have a true 3 technique in the middle, true nose tackle. All right? You don't have that. You don't have efficient pass rushers that can get to the quarterback and bring pressure every single play. Because in this 3-4 complex scheme that a Giro Evero runs, you need elite pass rushers. And we don't have that. It's a complex 3-4 scheme. So what do I suggest to solve it? Honestly, I say get the fucking rid of it. Get rid of it, Giro Evero, and bring back the 4-3 scheme that Carolina's defense was built on and was competitive each and every single week. Phil Snow's defense. Y'all can't tell me Phil Snow's defense, when Phil Snow was here, is not better. Phil Snow's defense is way better than what a Giro Evero is running. The problem is that Ejiro Evero is so stubborn in his own way, he won't even get out of his own way. The problem is that he's willing to make the correct adjustments, and then when we try to make the correct adjustments, he can't because he doesn't have the answers. Ejiro Evero is not a good defensive coordinator or a great defensive coordinator. He's probably good at best, so he's average. We don't have a Vita Vea in the middle. We don't have Vita Vea in the middle. That's what you need. You need a Vita Vea type kind of guy in there. And we don't have it. But you also don't have a Myles Garrett or someone like a Max Crosby like that on the outside either. And a wise man once told me an elite pass rush can make an average secondary look good. So we need to just get rid of it, honestly. Because this personnel is a better fit for a 4-3. And I think Evero needs to get out of here. Do you think Timmy comes in? Do you think we trade Bryce Young? Based off my understanding as of right now, Timmy, Diane Rossini came out today on Twitter and said that they're not looking to trade Bryce Young until after the season. Where she's finding this source from and who is telling her that, I have no idea. I think if Carolina was smart, though, they trade him now because this is probably the best time you're going to get the most value out of him. But again, this front office is so back and forth, they don't even know from right from wrong. They don't even know from their right to left at this point. And I'm starting to really question Dan Morgan a little bit. I think he hit on some draft picks with Jadavion Sanders, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, Trevin Wallace. I think he's done well in that department so far, at least with those four. I think he's hit on those four guys. You also might have a hit on Damani Richardson. Damani Richardson looks good, ladies and gentlemen. I like what I see from the kid. He's there at the ball every single time. That's why you saw him yesterday have over 12. I think he had over 8 solo tackles yesterday just for him. Yeah, 8 solo tackles. And the week before that, I think he had like 6 or 7. So I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. And he's serviceable in coverage. So, but you know, I don't know. I think it's better. I think you should trade Bryce now, but that's just me. That's just me. I think you're going to get the most value out of him now. But maybe they plan on playing him the rest of the year and see if they can get more value out of him. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Yep. Al comes in and says, if that DC says if Dave Canal starts Andy over Bryce next week, you think they will destroy Bryce's confidence even more and lose the trust of the team because the team looks like they're growing confidence in him? Yeah, I mean, Al, I have to kind of agree with you on that. I mean, I do. I do agree with you on that. I think that, you know, I saw it from Robert Hunt yesterday on the sidelines. You saw Damian Lewis going up to him. Al's got a good point here. You know, I think that, I think they start with him the rest of the season. I don't believe in Bryce Young, but I do think they start him the rest of the season. But Al, if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. I would need to see at least a couple of 200-yard games and at least one 300-yard game, if not more, to put some confidence back into me for Bryce Young. He might. I just don't think Bryce Young is an NFL quarterback. I just don't think he's an NFL caliber quarterback. And I have plenty of reasons as to why that is. All right, let's get over to the over the cap. Let's talk about some draft. Let's talk about some finances. Let's get right into it. All right. So here's the thing. Maybe I might not use over the cap. Let me get at it a couple things here real quick. Does he need me to sign off on that? Okay, he doesn't. All right, cool. Excuse me. Dennis Allen or Saleh as our DC, please. Yeah. Actually, I just don't think. I think Dennis Allen's a great defensive coordinator. He got fired as a head coach, but I think he's a great DC. I don't know what kind of scheme Dennis Allen run, but I know he was a decent DC. We look a lot more confident. He looked a lot more confident. Fixed the line. Yeah. Well, in a wide zone scheme that Dave Canales runs, you're supposed to see a lot more bootleg rollouts. You're supposed to see a lot more flooded concepts, but a lot of play action pass. I just don't feel like I've seen enough of that out of his so-called wide, because it's called a wide zone scheme that he runs. I just don't feel like I've seen enough of that, though. You're also supposed to see a lot of multiple tight end sets. And I don't feel like I've seen enough of that. We have seen a little bit more of the two running back sets. We did see a lot of. We see a lot more. We're starting to see some of that, or we were at least, but we'll see. He runs a lot of inside zone. I'll say the RPOs. You see that. I'm just surprised that we don't see a little bit more in certain ways. All right. Let's get into this. Hold on. I got to get the cap space up for you guys. Guys, if we get me... How many likes we got? How many likes we got? Where are we at on likes? Let's see. Where are we at? Hit that like button. Keep pounding says. Appreciate that. Keep pounding. Where are we at on likes? All right, we're at 28 likes. If we get this stream up to 50 likes, if we get this stream up to 50 likes, I'll do a mock draft today. Okay, Spot Track. This is what I'd rather use anyways. Spot Track's a good one. I know I'm lagging. It's all good. Okay. So when we look at this, when we look at the cap space, okay? It's the money situation is not exactly rolling out in dough right now. They've got a modest of 1 point. I think we've got like a modest of 1 point something 6 million to work with. This is all the dead money we're taking right now, all that. So yeah, so right now, okay. So right now we've got, it says cap space right now we have 3.5. Well, according to Over the Cap, though, let's see what Over the Cap says. Let me see. Because this might not be right. Let's go to Over the Cap. How much money we got to work with? Okay, well, 1.3. Now it says. With that kind of chump change, that they're hardly in position to make any blockbuster moves, so you can get off of that. But some expect some modest deals or some low cost swaps. If anything, I expect. Looking ahead, if we go at 2025, you're looking around 41 million, 41.5 million in cap space next offseason, enough to play with, but not enough to make it, earth shattering signings. That number, however, could grow some strategic offloading and before the deadline. Now, let's talk about assets. Okay, let's talk about assets. Let's say, okay, draft. Let's see if that we have. I'm trying to see. So, is this it? Is this the resources? So we have. Well, now I got to go look at, see if they've updated. See if they updated the draft order. Shit. We moved up to 4. So we are number 4 now. All right. We enter this draft. So here's our draft picks for this year. We've got the 4th pick as of right now. You've got your 47th pick that you got from LA last year, 68th pick. You've got your 105th pick. You got your 140th and 143. And oh wait, is this? Yeah, this is correct. Then you got the 178, 218, 234. Okay. So you got a conditional swap from Arizona for this one, and then you have a pick from Kansas City as well. And then you have the 140 and 143. That was some plus picks from the Giants and Ravens. And then a 178. All right. So then if you go look at 2026 draft, clean slate, we have a pick in each round. Okay. So the trade bait, of course, when we go look at these values of these guys, the trade bait is going to be, now I'm going to use actually Spot Track for this instead. The trade bait for us is going to be these guys. So we'll go over here. So trade bait number 1. Where's he at? I got to find him first. All right, no way. He's on injury reserve. That's right. So trade bait number 1. You've got Adam Thielen. Trade bait number 1. Okay. Here's the situation with Adam Thielen. He's a 34-year-old who has spent more time nursing a hamstring injury this season so far than catching passes. I know last year he had 100 yards, 100 catches, over 1,000 yards. But that was before, obviously, his latest setback. Okay. But teams are out here calling us desperate for a dependable slot guy they might take a gamble on him, right? I've heard that Minnesota would love to bring him back home. I've heard Pittsburgh is another team that would love to bring him in there. I've heard Dallas would love to bring him in there. to have somebody besides CeeDee Lamb to throw to for Dak. I've heard Kansas City still would be interested in bringing him in. Okay. Carolina could use him as trade bait. Obviously, it would be a late round pick, maybe 2. Maybe they get 2 late round picks. I don't know. Doubtful. But hey, anyone expecting a big return on his trade would be sorely disappointed. Okay. You're not going to get much out of him. Another guy that I think, honestly, I just rather would cut ties, but if you can get some value out of him, I don't know how you will. Jonathan Mingo is another guy. They might try to trade him away. Okay. 2nd round pick. He's already looking, to me, he's a draft bust, ladies and gentlemen. He's managed a grand total of 1 catch for 1 yard in the last 4 games. I'll say that again. He has managed 1 catch, 1 yard in the last 4 games. Let that sink in, because even with Thielen out, Mingo has struggled to make any impact on this team. And this kid's only 23. So maybe there's a team out there that's desperate enough to think that they can develop him. But let's just say the Panthers fans shouldn't get too attached. He could be out of here as soon as Morgan finds a sucker willing to take him. Of course, we were just talking about him earlier. Miles Sanders, another guy that needs to be traded away. Get out from under his contract. You can save a good amount of money on how, and this is just like one that is so crazy to me. Like, it's just, oh, how the mighty have fallen on this one. Like, Miles Sanders came into this season with expectations. He came into this organization with expectation. But even his production did not match the hype. He finds himself buried under Chuba Hubbard on the depth chart. Carolina has used him mainly as a catch and release option. He's barely seeing the ball in any capacity. You got Jonathan Brooks likely coming back soon, but the Panthers might toss Sanders on the trade market for a late round pick. And if anyone's interested of his contract, of picking up his contract, but this guy needs a fresh start, and frankly, so do the Panthers. So I think that it would be, I'm hoping that they trade him, but at this point, I can't get my hopes up for an organization that makes dumb moves, because for the most part, that's what this organization has done. Jadeveon Clowney, he's always been a name that has drawn interest. All right, a few sacks here, some decent run defense there. That's pretty much the story of Clowney's season so far. He's not setting the league on fire right now. But a playoff team bound looking for an edge rusher might see him as a cheap add-on. I've heard the Ravens would love to bring him back. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be coming knocking if they haven't already. I could see Jadeveon Clowney going to the Buffalo Bills. But let's not kid ourselves. No one's going to cough up some major assets for him. You may get a mid to late round pick, but I mean, sure, why not? Right? And then when we go to last but not least, Xavier Woods, another guy, contract year. Hasn't exactly been a standout. Consistently has issues that have plagued him. I guarantee you, for a secondary hungry playoff contender, he might still have some appeal to them. If the Panthers are smart, and let's be cautiously optimistic about this, but they might be able to swing a deal by covering a part of his salary in exchange for a draft pick. If not, well, they'll add him to the pile of mistakes that this team seems to collect. That's just my opinion. I wish someone would want Ian Thomas. Yeah, that would be the simple, easy route, right? So, who's staying put? I think that's it. Who's staying put on this team? When we look at this roster, who's staying put on this team? Well, for me, Chuba Hubbard's staying put on this team. I think so. I don't expect Chuba Hubbard or JC Horn to go anywhere. I think that they are obviously the name's been thrown in that hat. Morgan and Dave Canales have both been vocal about building the future around them. Horn and Hubbard seen as a foundational pieces. So unless some team offers a king ransom, they're staying in Charlotte. Okay. Now, when we go look at Dan Morgan's track record, when we go look at Dan Morgan's track record, Brian Burns, traded to the Giants back in March. Dante Jackson, shipped to Pittsburgh for Deontay Johnson in March. Michael Barrett, sent to Seattle in August for corner Mike Jackson. And then Deontay Johnson flipped to the Ravens in October. So obviously Morgan's been willing to trade anyone who's glued to the field, and is likely that's the mindset that they will, I think they're going to continue with. Okay. The bottom line is, for this trade deadline and stuff like that, I expect some moves. I don't expect miracles. I think we need to be realistic about what's coming down this pipeline. Like, this team is rebuilding whether you guys like it or not. And the trade deadline is one of the only times to get something or anything back for a roster that basically is dead weight at this point. Like, the Panthers are a team in need of a makeover, and that starts with trimming the fat. And if you're looking for bold moves or big name acquisitions, you better temper those expectations, because this deadline is about cutting losses, racking up future assets, and maybe giving fans a reason to hope for a better tomorrow. I would say go grab a drink, sit back. I don't expect much. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but at least there's a sliver of hope for 2025, ladies and gentlemen. What position would you want from the deadline tomorrow? Again, Antonio, Friday, with the cap space we have, I don't think we're going to be getting anybody. Like, if we trade, we're trading for, not cap space, but we're trading for draft capital, my friend. I don't see us making moves like that. Not with how this cap space is. I don't see us making any moves. We're trading assets for draft capital. That's what they would do. If they're smart, that's what they do. If they're smart, that's what they do. They trade for draft capital, not for players or a position group, you know what I mean, Antonio? I just don't see it. I don't think it makes sense for them to do that because of the cap space. Because of the cap space. Guys, we got 32 likes. Do me a favor. Make sure we're already over. Let's get 50 likes or more. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll stay on longer if you get me up to 50 likes or more. And we'll do, maybe you want me to break down why Bryce Young's not an NFL quarterback? I could tell you all about that. So, guys, do me a favor. If you're watching on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, if you're watching on the two other platforms like Twitch and Twitter, come on over to the YouTube channel. That's the best way you can like and subscribe. Best way you can show your support is by liking and subscribing. I would greatly appreciate that. Wherever you're watching, though, make sure you do those 3 things. Or 2 things, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, quick announcement real quick. Don't forget, the NFC South Roundtable is on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. EST. All right, we'll be breaking down the Week 9 recap with all those guys, the Saints, with TJ from the State of Saints podcast, Mr. Bucks Nation for the Buccaneers, and then, of course, Smitty Machine from the Atlanta Falcons. So shout out to Roundtable Sports.
Roundtable Sports Network brings you NFL divisional debate coverage on a weekly basis from your favorite content creators across YouTube, featuring the AFC East Roundtable live Monday and Wednesday evenings, the AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The NFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The AFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The NFC East Roundtable live Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. Roundtable Sports. Real coverage from real fans.
So shout out to the NFC South Roundtable. Also, shout out to BetUS. If you click down below in the description, it'll say click here. Yeah, you'll receive 125% bonus on your first bet up to $2,000. So get ready for the action and sign up with BetUS, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! BetUS, right up here. Oh, please do it. There it goes. Chargers are trying to pull off a trade for Higgins. Should we throw our name in that hat, or maybe maybe a player, lower draft? No. Kendall, no. Stay away. We got to stop trying to go after free agent players, man. People, here's the thing that you guys need to understand. Okay, everybody watching right now, the only way you truly rebuild this team is through the draft. All right? That's how you truly rebuild this team. You truly rebuild through the draft. Not free agency, not through trades, through the draft. We don't have the money. Number one, Kendall, we just went over it. We just went over it, buddy. Like, we don't have the money. We have $1.4 million in cap space right now. It's bad. It's bad. And it doesn't make sense because why would we go after T. Higgins when we just traded away Deontay Johnson? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, we can't go after another guy and we traded away for Deontay Johnson. See, free agency is that's where you retool. How you find your future of your team for the next 5 to 6 years, 5 to 7 years, I would say, for the next 5 to 7 years, to find the future of your team of the next 5 to 7 years, to build that Super Bowl winning team, to bring in the right talent that fits this team, the right mentality, the right football players. You build it through the draft. Everybody says it's risky that way, but it's not. Half of these teams in the NFL are built through the draft, whether you believe that or not. Yes, they bring in some free agent guys, but rebuilding's through the draft. You just can't trade for any big name player. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do it. Not in the position that we are in. Yeah, if you can find the correct formula, a mixture of both between the free agency and through the free agency and draft, Sure. Nervous with the $5 dono. Fans always wanted to trade for every big name player. We need to just take our dream, our Dan Medicine, draft well, rebuild. We're not a playoff team. Exactly, Nervous. Shout out to you, Nervous, with the $5 dono. Everybody spam Nervous in the chat. Appreciate you.
Bing bong.
That was nice. Appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate that. So shout out to Nervous with the $5 dono. Oh, crap. No wonder it didn't work. All right. Give me a second here. Oh, this thing is still going. Like, to rebuild this team, we're in a dire need of and I'm gonna keep this comment up because we're in a dire need of a reset bad. Okay? We're in dire need of a reset bad. The kind of reset that goes beyond swapping a coach or tinkering with the playbook, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we're talking about a full scale overhaul. Starting with the 2025 NFL draft. Like, this roster is a patchwork of mess. Okay. We have to build we gotta get talent in here. All right. We got to build around the foundation pieces that we do have. Right? Like, that's how you rebuild a team. That's how you rebuild a team. At least that's a start. Like, we need a full-scale overhaul in this 2025 draft, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this roster is, again, it's a patchwork mess. This draft is Carolina's golden ticket and maybe the only ticket to get some damn respect back. And if they don't nail this, they'll be swimming at the bottom of the NFC South for another decade. What do I think about Jalen Milroe? I think the kid's athletic as fuck, Hayden. I think he's very good. Do I see the potential there? I think there's definitely potential. Do I see him as one of the top quarterbacks in this draft class? Not really. I'm not a Jalen Milroe fan. I don't think he would come to us anyways. What's up, Antonio? We have 9 picks this year, Josh. I'm just not looking into him. He's not one of my guys on my board, man. He's just not. He's just not. Guys, make sure you do these 3 things. Gotta get young. Yep. 9 is good. Yes, we got 9. Got to commit to the rebuild. That's exactly right, Nick. Like, don't overthink on the early picks. Like, I think that when it comes to this draft, sometimes you might need to go best player available. Plain and simple. Like, you can't here's the thing that I think that Carolina does a lot of the time, first and foremost. Like, we can't afford to get cute with our draft picks. Okay? We just can't. Because that's been one of the biggest issues for Carolina. They need raw, undeniable talent. That's what they need. Like, in just about every position, and I would say some people will scream draft for need, but here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is a need for this team. Like, best player available is the only way to go when you're dealing with the team this week. Like, if the top player on the board is a wide receiver, I hate to say it, but go for it. If it's a defensive lineman, grab him. Overthinking this and trying to fit pieces is how teams end up with a roster full of mid-tier players. That's how it works. There's no stars. So if we go, like, here's the thing. Here's a perfect example. Pull this up real quick. Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to do that. Are you going to do a mock? I'm pulling it up. I might buy. I might do a mock. Might do a little mock draft. Might do a mock draft. Might do a little mock draft. Damn. Everybody's getting fired right before the trade deadline, Joshua. I mean, yeah. I mean, Nick, I agree with you. Like, if you don't have a quarterback, but if the quarterback's there at 4 and that's the best player available, I mean, again, Nick, in this draft, you might be able to get like a Garrett Nussmeier or a Jackson Dart in the second round. Like, and some of those guys I actually have higher. I don't think Jalen Milroe is a top 5 pick. Saints fans are absolutely rejoicing. Oh, I know. They're so happy right now. I can't wait. Here's the thing. Y'all got to tune into the NFC South Roundtable tonight because then we get to hear from TJ. Well, I didn't, Nick, I was saying it's metaphorically speaking. Like, if it's the best player available on the board at the time, then grab the wide receiver. But with the number 4 pick, I doubt a wide receiver at number 4 is going to be the best player in this mock draft. Like we can look at it right now, see what it is. Carolina. Let's go. I remember my settings from last year. I did my settings from last year, and I'm pretty sure this was the best way to do it. To make it more realistic. Now, again, also at the same time, it depends where we end up, right? It also depends where we end up. Like, we might not be at 4 by the end of this season, ladies and gentlemen. We can move up back to 1. We can move up back to 1. But, we never know. We'll have to see what New England does the rest of the year. Jacksonville and the Saints do at this point. Obviously, the rest of these other teams. And I'm not even going to try to trade back in this one because I'm already at 4. Yeah, see? Best player available. But see, damn, they took Mason Graham. I thought Mason Graham would be there. Travis Hunter. The thing is with Travis Hunter, are they gonna put him at wide receiver? Like, even if they did do that now, I don't see that happening there. Like, that doesn't make sense. Hold on. Sometimes I do not like these drafts because sometimes we get some I'll do randomness a little bit, and I'll put that maybe right there. Let's try that. I try to trade back if I could, but I just don't see it. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not going with what's good, CJ. So for me, my top target areas, though, I'll say this. Obviously, quarterback's one of them. I think edge rusher is one of them, for sure. Defensive line, for sure, is one of them. Linebacker, I know that PFF has linebacker as a need, but I don't think it's as a massive of a need compared to our D line and in the edge room, in the pass rushing room. Deion Walker, that's the best defensive lineman available right now. What the fuck? Corner, we got Will Johnson, who I do like. Edge, let me see what we got here. He didn't look too good against us, I'll tell you that. Nick Scruton or Sal Squalton. He didn't look that good. They don't have Abdul Carter that high in this draft. I do like some of these guys. Where is my quarterback of the future then? Who do I have? Milrow? Cam Ward? Maybe I trade back. Got some trades here. I actually kind of like this idea. Kind of like the trade back here. Could take the Raiders 6 pick. Kind of wouldn't mind moving back, though. Yeah, I'm thinking about trading back because I don't like the way this draft started out. Kind of like the Jets at 10 there. Maybe Cincinnati at 13. Probably could go this. Give me a future. Give me a third and a future second. Oh, you turd. All right, fine. Bet you the Jets will jump on this. All right, so 2 and that. Trying to make it future second. Nope. Jets might not even be there at that point. See, at 4, it's different than the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, see, they're not doing us 2 futures. Yeah, they're not going to do 2 futures. Maybe this in a future second. I'll take it. I mean, it's not like it's the first overall pick. I'll take it. I think it's a good trade. Who is calling me from? Hold on. Hold on. Who keeps calling me? I'm getting blown up here today. All right. Let's get right into it. So, damn. Okay. So they went. That makes. See, this doesn't make any sense. See, this is where I don't understand with mock drafts right now, man. How the. Why would the Raiders go for a wide receiver there? That shit's not happening, bro. Do not like this. I still feel like this is just not. I don't like these mock drafts. I don't like them. I don't like the PFF settings. They're shit. All right, let me move this back down and move this back down. Actually, let's reset this. Where is the original settings at? Okay. So let's move one back. I think I always move one back on each and every one of these. That's how I was able to get the most realistic out of last year. All right. Yeah, but keep pounding. They need a quarterback. They ain't going after no wide receiver that early. Shockwave 43. I hope they do. I hope they do. All right, let's start this draft. Travis. Yeah, this still doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. We're going to rock with it. We got 23 trades on the board. Indianapolis Colts are looking to move up. Seahawks. Maybe the Seahawks. Always seem to find some good trades with the Seahawks. What if you do this in a future third? Oh, you can suck my ween. Ah, got him to bite. Give me that. Give me that. Got him to bite, ladies and gentlemen. I put my rod out there. And I got a nibble. 4. All right, so we traded the Seahawks for number 4. Yeah, Jock Wright, Stick City. I don't know. I mean, do what you got to do, sometimes. 2025 4th. We got a 2025 14. We got a 78th pick. We also got a future first and a future second. Let's see how this works out. Damn, Cam Ward off the board. I was going to go Cam Ward, actually, thinking that he would make it past. But Tennessee went for him. Tennessee's bringing in Cam Ward. We're at the 14th pick here. What quarterbacks we got left? We got Shador Sanders. I'm going to pass on Shador. I don't need a wide receiver here. Probably going to go where I got a D-line. So Deion Walker's still there. Might be able to pick him up. I think I'm going to go edge rusher here. Abdul Carter, man. Let me tell you one thing about Abdul Carter if y'all don't know. I was watching some of his game film the other day. Some highlights. And I'm surprised he's not higher than some of these other guys. I really am. Because I look at his I love Abdul Carter, and I'll say this. This guy has all the intangibles you're looking for in a pass rusher, in my opinion. I think he's better than some of these guys that people give him credit. He's athletic as hell. I mean, here's the thing about Abdul Carter is crazy. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, runs a 4.4 40. He's got that kind of speed off the edge, especially against slower quarterbacks. I mean, he can chase them down like a cheetah on the hunt. He's got great closing speed. Heavy hitter, right? A heavy hitter, dynamic edge rusher. He's that NFL caliber quickness and flexibility that you're looking for in an edge rusher, ladies and gentlemen. So he can bend the edge very well. Long arms. That's another big thing about him. It's got a huge wingspan to draw down the quarterbacks and running backs. Downhill defender, runs with authority, discipline, constantly moving. Instinctive playmaker, quick reaction skills. Always seeming to be where the ball is. That's Abdul Carter. Like, pass rush run rate. He's ranked third among 1,001 with 100 or more snaps in 2023. Showcasing his ability to the quarterback. So I like Abdul Carter here. And I'm going to rock it. And there's my edge rusher of the future. What bridge quarterback then sounds good, but the reality of doing that is missable. I take Josh, if it's me, and we're gonna go get if I'm gonna go get a bridge, I wouldn't mind Jameis Winston. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd be okay with Jameis Winston as my bridge guy. I would be okay if they brought in a bridge. I'd be okay with a Jameis Winston. He's not going to get you a lot of wins, but he could have a couple. I mean, he had a 300-yard game against the Baltimore Ravens. So, who knows? Where should? I mean, it just depends on what team are interested in. It gives us the best offer, but I could see teams like LA, like the Rams. I've heard they've had interest. I've heard Miami had interest. I've heard the Jets may have had interest for him to sit behind Rodgers. Don't know if that makes sense for the Jets. I'm just trying to think who else would have had interest in him. From my understanding, I think that was it based off of my understanding. Joshua. All right, so we got our edge rusher. Quarterbacks still on the board. We got Garrett Nussmeier. So where should we trade Bryce? Oh, I already answered that question. So got Garrett Nussmeier here. Could take him at 44. I mean, I don't mind Nussmeier. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Garrett Nussmeier is kind of underrated. Big arm. Can make every throw. Can make every throw in the book. Natural leader, gamer. Nothing really phases him. Quick thinker. He reads defenses fast. I think Nussmeier has the potential written all over him. But he's green. Like if he takes LSU far, he might surprise some people on draft day. But the NFL loves experience. And he's just getting started. So I don't know. I mean, you do also got JT You got JT Talamalu right here. What about defensive line? Maybe we wait. Because we do need defensive line help. But I don't see it. What about maybe we do get another linebacker? Harold Perkins sounds good. Jalen Walker. I do like Jalen Walker. Dude's a big linebacker. Oh, but part of me is like, I could get Landon there. Quarterback wise. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier's right here. What am I going to do? Wait till 107, 105 to get Drew Allard? Oh. Jeez, Lou. I do like Harold Perkins, man. I broke him down the last time I did one. Tackling machine, elite burst, sideline to sideline speed, versatile playmaker, pass rushing skills, football IQs, all there. He's got some I think he's a guy that can play a hybrid role. We drafted Matt Corral and they got rid of him. Yep. Thinking about taking Harold Perkins here, but I might double up. What other edges are right here besides Tumalalu? Oh, my boy Kyle. Kyle Kennard's a stud. I don't care what anybody says. Kyle Kennard is an absolute stud. 6'5". Like this guy right now, though. I don't know if y'all watching that South Carolina game. The kid's a fucking absolute stud. He is flying under the radar in this edge rushing room. I think Kyle Kennard is just. I don't understand how he's this low. I don't understand how Kyle Kennard's this low, man. Like, you're talking about a guy that was actually, when he first came in, he was 6'5", 310 when he first came to South Carolina. Now, he leaned out. He's 6'5", 254. But my God, you talk about a guy that just imposing size, strong hands, footwork, run blocking machine, durable, understands the game, recognizes blitzes, and communicates well with his teammates. Like Kyle Kennard's an absolute stud. What? That is not. That makes no sense. Oh, I see what she's doing. Yeah, Kyle Kennard might be the guy. I like that. Josh says, if you draft a QB in the later rounds, it's going to eventually be a wasted pick. They won't have as much investment in them, in my opinion. Very short window to develop. You never know. I mean, come on, Rucker, I could get later on, but part of me is just like, do I take a chance with Nussmeier? Well, I mean, who am I going to get? Who was I going to get in that first round? Was I going to take Shedeur Sanders? No. Not taking Shador Sanders. Drew Allard looked good against Ohio State, I thought, even for the most part. But let me look at some of these guys. Yeah, y'all want to take Kyle McCord? The guy who's throwing how many picks? Miller Moss. Let me look at him. Damn, Miller Moss. How does he already have 2,500 yards this year? Garrett Nussmeier. Let me see what you got. Damn, Nussmeier's already got 2,600 yards in 8 games. Completion percentage 62.2. Averaging, he's got 20 touchdowns, 9. Damn. Passer rating of a 95.5. It's pretty damn good. Carson Beck, let's see you. Not too hot this year. Not too hot this year. Quinn Ewers. He's looking all right. Let's see what else we got. Quinn Ewers, Connor Wigman. He's been off and on. Jackson Dart. Jesus, man. This kid. I mean, he's a promising talent in the late round. I probably could get him later on. I could get Jackson Dart later on if I wanted to. I'm getting my boy. Give him. Where am I at? Yeah, I'm taking Kyle Kennard. I like it. I'm taking Kyle. Dang. Nussmeier's still right here, 68? All right, I don't know how he fell. Shit. I might take Nussmeier. See ya. Give me Nussmeier. I'm taking it in the 3rd round. And then I'm going to take D-line. 78. I need a center. Are you telling me the best centers are gone? Damn, Jonah and Monaheim left. And Brailsford. Damn. Okay. The only other center I could get is Connor Tollison or Jake Slaughter, who probably is better, Jake Slaughter, but I'm not going to get up to that point. So I need to get. So look at the linebackers. Jack Frage Kaiser. Barrett Carter's right there. All right, we'll go Barrett Carter. I like Barrett. Now I need a D line. Might be a. Yeah, all the good centers are gone before the 4th. Okay. We got Cameron Reed. Tight end. Drew Allard at 107. I could have taken him there. Got a safety. Manser, Mullane. What's his size like? 6'1", 187. Oh, Patrick Payton. But he's not that good. Dorian Strong. He's all right. Derek Harmon. I might just draft. I'm going to draft him because I need D-line. And he's the best defensive lineman. This might not be the best one I've done yet, but it's just the beginning. I've only done like a few. This might be my second one I've done. So, might not be too bad, though. Jabbar Muhammad. Ricky White is a stud. Great route runner. Deion Burks, he's okay. Will Shepard. Jimmy Horn Jr. Julian Fleming. Moose. How's he doing this year, by the way? Not too good. I'm looking at the rest of these wide receivers. Tez Johnson's nice. Zachariah Franklin. That's a good one there. He's okay. Isn't he tall? No, he's not. I thought he was 6'3". Ricky White's pretty fucking good. I like his. Most drafted by. Could be a guy. Who knows? We'll say wide receiver. Why not? What's the last pick? See how it turns out. Let's see how it turns out. It says, great job. That's a good looking draft. No suggestions available for this draft. So it literally says no suggestions available. I got an overall grade of an A, top 113%. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Greatly appreciate you guys. Been on here for over 2 hours. I am going to go take a shower because I stink because I went to the gym before I got on here. So appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, smash the like button, hit the subscribe. And as always, guys, 3 things before I leave you. Have fun, be safe, keep pounded. Peace.